That's how you guide someone, with the why. Not with do this and do that, do that. That's indoctrination. Education is getting them to explain to you why, or explain to them why, in a way that they can understand and they can identify. And then all your tests should not be, do you remember what we told you here? It should be, can you identify, in this area, what we told you?
Let's talk about facts.
If you want to have intellectual discussions.
Spiritually oriented, a beautiful thought.
Who you are beyond the personality.
I'm a human being, same as you. Be who you are.
But to answer your question,
What is really going on? And let's get into this.
And what is up, Team Wirgo? What is? Welcome to the wonderful world of Wirgo, the place where we get asked, what is really going on? And today we're asking, what is really going on with the word sin? Now, you're going to see some descriptions coming up below of what the word sin means in dictionaries and to different people. But now I'm going to describe sin to you in maybe a different way you've never heard before. What sinning is, within narcissism and empathy, there's still an element of controlling someone through the ideology of shame and blame. Empaths do this as much as narcissists do, which I see some of the most greatest, most perfect saints and gurus around the world still using narcissism within empathy, or control within empathy, should I say. And what they do is they use narcissistic control. Empaths use let's use empathic control, let's just say. And how they do this is they convince you to do something using your emotions or using your head, but never really both. It's very, very rarely both. Empathic people are very selfless, whereas narcissistic people are very selfish. I think all humans have the ability to be both and should be both the most perfect they can, like as close to the middle of both things as possible. So a sin is when you use someone's emotions to control them. So shame and blame are probably the biggest controlling elements of a human being. Oh, love is way more powerful, but hardly anybody uses that. This is a bit biblical, but even in the Bible it says original sin comes from the understanding of good and evil, because that is the power by which you use to shame and blame people. And everything from that is a sin. So things like where you allow the knowledge of good and evil to infect. So if you're really frustrated with something, often you should be frustrated with yourself for not understanding and not being able to help. But what will happen is, as soon as you use good and evil to view what you view, and you're going to see and blame and shame the thing you see as evil, which is often the target of what you're talking about. So you won't go, God, I'm frustrated, and I don't know how to help that fella, he's rambling on there, he's doing some things, he's clearly got some problems, I don't know how to help him, but what he's doing is vile, I have to try and at least stop him. Yeah, that's an element of frustration. But the moment you go, look at that evil twat doing that, you're installing into your frustration an ideology of evil, which then transforms your frustration into anger, hence one of the deadly sins. It's because evil has been interjected to it and changed and altered it somehow into a different thing, which makes you work a little bit different, makes you think, makes you do things a little bit differently. So you have to be very, very careful of that. Sinning can be done in both ways. It's when either you allow somebody to shame and blame yourself, or reverse sinning, I don't know, but when you allow that happen to yourself, it means a deeper part of you still believes and understands this. So that's when you've been completely healed of this, is when nobody can shame or blame you at all. I'm getting close to there. But when no one can do that to you, it means you're healed from it. And I'm working my way towards it. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's something you have to... I'll do this when I explain what a tree of knowledge is. All right, so when you see tree of knowledge, click on that one and you'll see when I explain a tree of knowledge. But what I'm saying is, sinning is the act of controlling someone else through their emotions, feelings, or thoughts. If you give somebody the tools to make the correct decisions for themselves, you're no longer controlling them, you're inspiring them, you're leading them, you're guiding them. You're saying, this is what I believe it to be, here are all the options, what do you think the correct answer? And then when they give you their answer, or hopefully the answer with the questions, even better, shows they're trying to learn it. But if they give you the answer, you can keep questioning their answer until either you can see that the path they're on is probably the true path, or they can see the path you're trying to put them on is the true path. There's only a level of illness, narcissism or empathy or just basically ignorance or stubbornness that'll stop people from doing that. Stop them from asking the question or stop them from answering the question. There are other things, obviously, like trickery and spells and stuff like that, as in spelling, as in using certain words in a certain way. These kind of things can do that. But I'm just talking in general. The way to lead somebody is to set an example, show them what works or what you believe to be working, why you believe it works. That's how you guide someone, with the why. Not with do this or do that, do that. That's indoctrination. Education is getting them to explain to you why, or explain to them why in a way that they can understand and they can identify. And then all your tests should not be, do you remember what we told you here? It should be, can you identify, in this area, what we told you? Because if that's the case, then they can explain to you why that is and explain how it is education and not indoctrination. Right, waffle over. Sinning then, guys, is just the act of narcissist sin. It's why they say all children are born sinners, because they don't speak our language, so they constantly have to play on our emotions to get us to do things. But then when they come out of Eden, about 6.5 years, then they can start becoming sinners by you should have taught them by then not to emotionally blackmail anybody, trying to always ask nicely, ask questions, and basically just ask, not demand or tell or anything like that. Right, Wirgo, what is? Pardon me.